everyone, Miss Ashby here. For today's learning activity, I am going to teach you guys about patterns. So this is patterning for 3 to 5-year-olds. We are using the Washington State's Early Learning Developmental Guidelines within math and knowledge. Today the students will be able to ask questions and get clarification on information that is presented. They will also be able to apply this new information and use the new vocabulary words that they learned in their future interactions and their future math learning. They will be able to create simple AB patterns and ABC patterns. They will also be able to add up all the total sum of all the objects when they are complete. By adding or taking away, we will extend the activity. So this learning activity involves getting to know and understanding numbers and creating simple patterns within a household. So we will focus on the A, B, and ABC as they are the most simple patterns and the most easily introduced. So we will be using certain materials that we can find around the house. For example, around the house I was able to find one of my bowls of fruit. I have apples, I found some limes, I have some popsicle sticks from when the last time I did the 10 frames and the tally marks. I also have the beans, I also have some index cards that I cut up that are a variety of colors. There's yellow, pink, orange, green. Those are easily can be made into patterns. And then to be festive, I have this little jar of, it looks like cinnamon sticks, pine cones that are gold and brown, and these little fun red balls that can be used as part of our patterns. So anything you can find around the house is something that you can use to make a pattern. So before you begin patterning, you will always ask the student if they know what a pattern is. Some children are familiar with patterns because they see them around their homes, their clothing, or you can ask if they can make patterns from shapes or colors on their own. You want to see what their base is before you start explaining something. So this activity will start off as a conversation. You'll say, hey, have you ever made a pattern before? Or does your t-shirt have a pattern? Whatever connects with that child that you're working with, use open-ended questions in that situation. So we will you can tell them that they can use their toys, they can use Legos, they can use snacks. We can use anything to make a pattern, and you can explain that patterns can be made out of more than just fabrics or household displays. So after going over some household items that you can use and saying that you can use colors, shapes, and objects for patterning, you will want to have them actually put patterns together. So before we put patterns together, we're going to have to make a 10 frame. So one of my last videos, if you look on the page under math, right above is explaining how to make a 10 frame. So I just grabbed a simple blue sheet of paper and I cut up index cards and I just glued 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 patterns or 2 rows of 5 to make a pattern mat. So this is also a 10 frame and it's multi-purpose, so you can use it for both situations. So you'll just need paper, glue, scissors, make your 10 frame. But this is every child needs a flat surface or a mat so they can cleanly create their patterns. So after they have a mat or a flat surface, you will want to show them how to make a pattern. So the first pattern that I'm going to introduce today is an AB pattern. That means it has 2 objects. So you'll have to explain to them how AB means 2. That means 2 items that you're using. So for this one, we're going to use an apple and a lime. You can find these around the house. So 1, 2, A, B. So when we do that, we're going to take our mat and we're going to place the apple on the first one. And then we're going to place the lime on the second one. At this point is when you will ask the child, what do you think comes next in the pattern? If we're using 2 things, what do you think we can use to, this is where the vocabulary comes in, arrange, extend, grow. Grow the pattern. How can we extend this pattern? So you will have the items in a bowl, on the ground, whichever, and you will have them place the 2 items in the right position. You can hand them the items, have them point to which one they think is the correct object to put next. So say the child picks the lime. Well, you will explain how, hey, well, this is a different type of pattern. So the line doesn't necessarily go in an A-B pattern. That is a different type of pattern. This would be an A-B-B pattern. And then you can explain how you choosing the apple would be the correct answer for the A-B pattern. And then extend the lesson from there until they can easily complete the pattern on their own. And this is how it can work for an ABC pattern as well. So we can take away our extras and then say this time I'm using colors. So I have all these different colors. These are just index cards. You can use color crayons and white pieces of paper, cut them up. You can make whatever is most convenient for you and your child. So I have yellow, pink, and orange. I'm going to put the green off to the side because I don't need green. And this is A, B, C. And you can have them decide which one is going to be A, which one is going to be B, and which one is going to be C. 1, 2, 3. And explain how that is 3 items. So we'll do yellow as A, pink as B, and orange as C. And that is when you'll do this repeat that same, how do I extend, how do I grow, how do I arrange this pattern. Use that vocabulary so they become more familiar with their math vocabulary. You will then ask them to place the correct colors in the correct order. And sometimes throw in that green, throw in a random one so they can be like, no, that doesn't belong there, and toss it off to the side themselves so they can kind of go over that comprehension and understand that that doesn't belong there. That's not part of this pattern, kind of a little bit more of extending the lesson in that way. And so you will simply ask them, which one was A? That was yellow. Which one was B? That was pink. And which one was C? That was the orange. And use that 10-frame map. Sometimes if you run out of room, you can do it on just a table, or you can make a bigger 10-frame. This is just something that I use because it's an easy and it kind of stays in a clean way. So another way to extend this activity is by introducing the other ways that I mentioned earlier. The A, you can do A, B. There's also one that's B, or A, B. They're simply all different types of patterns that they can use. And you can explain how you can use colors. So there can be color-coded. They can use toys. They can use anything that their heart desires. You know, go and find a t-shirt in their closet and see what patterns they have. Maybe the carpet has a pattern. You can also, right now it's Christmas, you can use ornaments. And you can kind of arrange them in that way. So I believe that when you are able to encourage the child and support them throughout this learning process, they will feel more confident in creating their own patterns. They will also be able to not become so frustrated. When you as an adult model that positive behavior, they model that back and they'll say, oh, silly me, no big deal, I'm gonna try again. We wanna make sure that children are positive during this experience. Math can be extremely frustrating, and we want this early introduction to math concepts to be a positive experience so that they will want to extend their math knowledge in the future. We also want to make sure that this is diverse. Not every household has these items. So we want to make sure that this can be extended to any items you have around your house and be so as simple as handing out colored paper and cutting it up into squares. Whichever, this can be either given out by the teacher or you can find things around your house. Whichever is easiest is always the most culturally appropriate and the most diverse for every household. We also want to make sure that we are asking open-ended questions and reinforcing our vocabulary, like repeat, rearrange. Can you find any patterns? What do you like the most about patterns? Get them engaged in the learning process. It's going to help them understand the concept more easily. You also want to ask them and kind of mix up a pattern, maybe do a misstep and say, hey, which item is missing? What is missing in the pattern? You can also have them go back if you see that they misplaced an item. some of my students always do a AAB, but it's really supposed to be an AB pattern. And I say, hey, is red supposed to be next to a green? If we're doing, say, a holiday, red, green, we have to make sure that they can go back and fix their mistakes and it not be a big deal, because nothing is supposed to be perfectly perfect when you're learning, and they need to understand that. And we need to model that as their teachers and parents. So when you're brainstorming those open-ended conversations and, building upon that knowledge, you just want to remain positive and share what you know. And if you don't know, you can always research and look up things together. This is also going to be different for every household. Every child learns at a different pace, and it's our job to work at their pace. You as an adult may know how to do all these patterns, but we work at the child's pace, so that way they can understand the concept more easily. So when you're doing this, just remember that you are going to focus on the different pattern types, and no answer is ever wrong, but it can be explained. So if you have any other questions, on my website, there is a video, a little silly video from Go Noodle. It's called Banana Meatball, and that one goes over a silly interactive way of learning and understanding patterns. Please look at my lesson, and you will have more ideas on how to complete this activity. So, thank you. Bye.